Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is so good to be with someone actually rather than doing this all by myself. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome Asif into our call or in our video today, who is going to attempt to answer the same questions that you get from you guys the way I answer for you. Today you are lucky you're going to get two people to answer you the same question. Now, if you want to know more about Asif, I'll leave a link in the description box so you can read all about the amazing things he's already done. And if you know him already, great. You can tap on his shoulder and get to know more from him. Hi, Asif. Welcome on board. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. You know what? I think we've already been talking for about a minute now, so let's just
Hmm.
straight jump into our question that I've got.
Yes.
I got this question actually a month back, but
Hmm.
I've been a little busy, so I wasn't able to answer it. The question I have, and I've got it written down here on my iPad, so I'll read it out to you. The question is, what is self-awareness,
Hmm.
and how can we become, or I can become more self-aware?
All right. That's a question that's been asked by a lot of people these days because people themselves, I believe, they are becoming self-aware. So that's when the question comes in the mind or your heart when you really want to know who you are. So self-awareness is all about who you are. You want to know who you actually are. Why have you taken birth? I may sound cliche at times, but then that's a reality. There are certain questions that have been asked by a lot of people around the planet Earth these days that who am I? Why did I take birth? What's the purpose of my life? What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to follow everything that has been passed on to me from God knows who in the hierarchy or in the lineage? Or then am I really supposed to use my understanding and intellect to understand actually am I? And that's what I think self-awareness is all about, knowing who you are, trying to understand the purpose of your existence. At the same time, I believe, this can become possible only when you disconnect yourself from all that has been downloaded into you. From your family, from dogma, from from anyone for that matter. You just need to feel and think about yourself for a moment that okay, I'm a new person here. I have come here on this planet Earth, and I just want to know who am I. Listen to everyone, understand everyone's perspective. There is a little truth in everyone's perspective, I believe. And your heart is like Abraham Hicks and the teachings. They teach us, they have taught us, and they tell us that every human being has come on this planet Earth with an EGS, if I can call it that way, emotional guidance system. So if you being truthful to yourself and trying to really get an answer for your question, then your EGS works fine. Open your heart, understand what things are. Don't be biased. That's what I feel. And then listen to everyone. And then somewhere, your EGS will point you towards the direction where you will find yourself. And that's what I think is going to be the self-awareness. You know who you are.
So
Yeah.
how do you think, like also because they want to know how can you become more self-aware or fully self-aware?
Okay, like I said, I would walk the same the path again, and I'll talk the same thing that firstly we need to disconnect ourselves from what has been taught to us, you know, and don't be staunch and don't be rigid. Be flexible in understanding everyone's point of view with respect to this question. A lot of listen to people. There are great teachers, right? We are fortunate enough at this point in time, in this timeline on planet Earth, that we have access to amazing teachers who are doing the work on planet Earth. Listen to them. Listen to, I would say, Asterix, who delivers the teachings of Abraham. Listen to people like Joe Dispenza and Greg Braden and Bruce H. Lipton. A lot of people, big names are there. We will try to at least understand something, and then definitely that is going to help us to understand and become more self-aware of who we are. Basically, if you ask me again, because I have walked the same path, I would come out with the same answer, that we are, of course, spiritual beings having a human experience. That's what we have heard, right? And that I truly believe in that. Yeah, we are more than humans, and I even have stopped calling myself a human being. And that sounds a bit different to people when they listen to it for the first time, but then when they understand, we are more than that. We are more than humans. Yeah, that's what I think. Self-awareness. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for that explanation. It was great to hear, from someone else other than what I know and what I understand. So for me, I personally think, or what I've studied from emotional intelligence, that self-awareness is the first thing when you want to become emotionally intelligent, and that, yes, very well ties into the
Yeah.
emotional guidance system that you were referring to from Abraham
Yes.
Esther Hicks. But
Yeah.
yes, self-awareness is the first aspect of being emotionally intelligent. And for me, the way I would define self-awareness is knowing more about yourself, knowing what you like, knowing what you don't like, knowing what triggers you and why
Yeah.
does it trigger you, and knowing where you come from. And then again, challenging what you have, as just you mentioned, challenging what you have, what has been passed down to you. Is it
Yes.
is it really that the case, or is it, like questioning yourself and questioning your experiences? Even as a matter of fact, you can question things that have been brought down from generations over generations and question that, okay, it is that way, that's been told to me. And most of the time, the question about self-awareness comes to a person when they are going through, I know they call it midlife crisis, but it's not really a crisis.
Yeah.
It's a midlife
Yes.
transition where you have spent half of your life doing everything what everyone asked you to do. And now you're at a
Yeah.
point of time, okay, I've spent half of my life, or most of it, and I still don't have that so-called happiness. I still don't know what I want, especially in our culture. We've been so inundated with what mom wants, what dad wants, and what your
Yes.
grandmom wants, and what are your expectations and your parents' dreams, etc., etc. You tend to kind of forget, okay, what do I want? And that's when I guess you have the question about self-awareness. And in terms of, increasing your self-awareness, the things that have worked for me are things like, I do a lot of journaling. I write a lot of
Hmm.
diaries. I know it's a very old concept and people are going away from the written things, but I find that very soothing in a way that I can learn more about myself, especially if I go back and read what I've written last night,
True.
then it makes a lot more sense as to what was going in my mind. The other thing that has worked for me is uh, going out in the nature.
Yeah.
And this I tell everyone to, I don't expect you to do runs and whatever, but just if you go for a 30-minute stroll, nature has a vibration that is a positive vibration, and it can also set your vibration right by making it positive. At the
True.
same time, because you're spending more time with yourself, you will
Yeah.
get to know more. I'll say one of the amazing things I get asked most of the time, I'm very lonely. Of course
Uh-huh.
you're lonely, because you don't know the person you're spending the time with.
Absolutely. Yes.
and,
Yes.
and that's even the more reason that you need to become more self-aware, so that you're not feeling lonely. Lonely is only a feeling that you get when you don't know the person you're spending the time with. That
Absolutely.
is yourself.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Um, so yeah, so no, look, that was a really good discussion, and I am grateful that you could join me and
I'm
talk on
honored.
the same aspect. So I'm sure the viewers will enjoy this. I will definitely pass on the video to the person who asked the question, and there are many other people who keep asking the same question.
Sure.
Look, thank you so much, genuinely, for your time and your input. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for having me on this particular time. I'm ever grateful to you. Thanks a lot. Looking forward for more. Spending some more time with you with these videos.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot. You have
Okay,
a nice
thank
day. You
you.
take care.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye.